Yeah.
You don't have to like it, but
oh sure. Yeah. Then the one other issue I had was I've never been a big fan of Robin as a sidekick, and except maybe in the campy original series, but it's because it was campy.
for different reasons.
Because I love in that case, Robin's campy as fuck, and the whole series was campy as fuck. So
Right.
that fits there. But in a serious Batman movie where it's dark and sort of, more dangerous and realistic, Robin is not a good fit there. And they sort of implied that the young police detective in the movie was going to be Robin if there's ever another movie made, which I hope like that doesn't turn out if that's the case.
Yeah, I think that's why I would be okay with that being implied that he's going to be Robin, is if they just leave it.
Yeah. Although I just don't even like the idea at all. Like the movies in the 90s with Robin were shit. And I don't even like the implication in this new Batman universe. Like, it sort of spoiled it for me that in this Batman universe there can be any sort of Robin. Unless he also dresses like Batman in every way, and like he isn't weird and cheesy and, just, to use a word that might offend some people, kind of faggoty. And not in the gay bashing way, because I love gay people, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to use that word for something that everybody knows what I'm fucking talking about. Sort of the Louis C.K. method. So, if you don't know what that means, just YouTube
fucking Google it. Yeah.
Louis C.K. faggot, and you'll know why I use that word without hating gay people. Robin to me is faggoty and just goofy, and like it just doesn't fit. What they should have done was, like, if Batman's going to be written as an old, like, worn out Batman, like, if that's what you want to do with it, then make the new guy Batman, and like Batman becomes immortal because it's a series of people over time playing Batman, and Batman never changes, but the people do. But the people of Gotham City don't know that. They just know that there's this guy out there called Batman who's like larger than life and just can't be killed.
He's just always there.
Just always there, yeah.
He's the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yes, exactly. So, no, great reference from Princess Bride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can never remember the name of that fucking movie. I love that movie, too. So that's the way I would have went with Batman, the new Batman movie. And I think they actually did an animated series where that happens back in the 90s. I didn't watch it, but from what I heard, like, there was like the regular Batman animated series, and then there was this other series that sort of had an old Bruce Wayne sort of mentoring somebody that wears the bat suit.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's bouncing off the comics, and that's why comics are confusing to me, is because they'll split off into different storylines. But yeah.
So that's basically, I guess our take on the Batman movie.
Right.
Men in Black 3, we saw that at ye old timey drive-in. Which, by the way, with drive-ins, like, it's just on a little quick tangent here. I love that there are still drive-ins around, and I remember, as a kid going to the drive-in and loving it, and it's sort of sad that maybe this is just me being fooled into the good old days thing again.
Okay.
Which I swear to you, I don't believe in.
All right.
But I really hope that lots of people get a chance to experience drive-ins before they sort of go away. Maybe they'll never go away because they're becoming kind of kitschy.
That's true. Yeah.
They'll be preserved now, a few of them. Until, I guess, maybe the singularity hits, or we're all in the Matrix, or whatever the fuck happens, / the apocalypse of zombies, whatever it may be. But I love going to the drive-in. I love going to the drive-in with my friends. I think it's great how, like, they still have the same old, like, shitty building from when I was a kid still there. The counter's the same. They still have, like, the same crappy, like, Coke signs and soda fountain handles, and the projector is still the same old, like, carbon arc projector with 35 millimeter film running through, like, old sprockets, like. And as yet another side, I used to be a movie theater projectionist, so maybe I just have a real penchant for this sort of thing, but that's what I used. I worked in a theater, and, like, it used all old equipment, and, it was, some of this shit was 70 years old, and it was all made out of, like, iron. And, like,
Cadmium.
You'd open that. I wouldn't be surprised. You'd open up the side of the projector after you activated it's basically two carbon rods that sort of smash together, and then they form an electrical arc, and that's where the light source is. And if you open the door, it's like you feel like those dudes that operated the gun part of the Death Star, where you had to sort of turn your back as the super laser fired. Like that's what you had to do. You had to turn your back to it because it was so goddamn bright that like you'd swear like your shadow was going to be imprinted on the wall. It was amazing, and I have a lot of fond memories of that, as I do have fond memories of the drive-in. And they even still have those poles that you park next to with the little speaker thingies on them, although you just tune in the FM radio nowadays.
Sounds like the inside of the projector functions, or is quite like the inside of a woman.
As according to the congressman, the good congressman.
The good congressman from Missouri.
Holy fuck. Based on what I heard him saying, like he said, his exact words were, and help me out here, if it's a legitimate rape,
which operationalize that term, douchebag. But moving on,
I'm pretty sure he should have said actual rape. I guess that doesn't help a lot, but it helps him a little. I think that's what he meant by legitimate.
Yeah.
He's such a retard on so many levels. Just moving on.
Yeah.
He said if a woman is legitimately raped, that her body has a way of shutting that whole thing down. To me, that sounds
pretty close, yeah.
That sounds... I pictured a rapper saying that. Like, yeah, like, if a woman gets raped, she just shuts that shit down, yo. Like, that's how I translated it in my head.
Right, a very formal, well-thought-out way of explaining the reproductive system.
And based on everything the guy said, like, I imagine in his mind the inside of a woman looks like one of those elaborate Dr. Seuss contraptions from the books. Just, like, full of hoovers and sperm wunkers.
It's also like the operation. Yeah. The operation body. Yeah. And that's a rape. Shut it down. You lost.
Oh. So I'll try to remember to post a link. There's a Dr. Seuss like Swiss Army knife contraption that I found a great picture of, and it's sort of this thing. It's just covered in contraptions and butterfly nets and fucking sandwiches and arms, and it's just everything. It's just this weird elaborate machine, and
lots of pipe cleaners.
This is what I think. Oh my god! It just clicked in my head. I think this is my imagining of what Aiken has in his head of, like, instead of a uterus and ovaries, there's just this fucking just contraption with like billows and steam shooting out of things, and
there's always bolts that need tightening for whatever reason. Just always walking around tightening bolts.
That's just that the guy saying that, him saying that is so crazy out there. Like, that's not even a fuck you of the week. It's not even a douchebag of the week. That's just so ridiculous. I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, I don't know. Currents of douchebaggery in our culture.
That's just so out there that this guy has put us at a loss to label it.
Well, I mean, it's like the only thing that I can really contribute that, I don't know if anybody else is talking about it, but they should. Or more people should be pointing it out. Is I mentioned it before we got started today. Is the fact that, like, this isn't just like one errant asshole like saying weird things on camera or on being recorded. This isn't just a weird idea that he had. Lots of people have said this that are really like super duper weird pro-life people. Like there's a whole half of my family that has that attitude, and I heard that shit growing up, like in the 90s. If people are saying they're getting an abortion because they're raped, that's probably not true because you can't get pregnant from a rape, and stupid shit like that. So it's not new, and people need to somebody with a little bit more motivation than me needs to like troll the internet and find other quotes and video clips of other dipshits, spouting this crap and organize it and be like, this is just one in a long line of assholes.
Yeah. I wonder if Representative Aiken like saw the first half of an old episode of Degrassi Junior High, because I remember an episode where they were like, one of the characters was like thinking about having sex with her boyfriend, and like the myth in that show was that you couldn't get pregnant the first time because there was something in there that shut that shit down,
Exactly, shuts that shit down.
So is this guy a secret Degrassi fan, except he missed the ending where she gets pregnant? We may never know.
Just like you can't get pregnant if you're not in love.
Oh, well, that's true.
Well, yeah. The Asia has the most love per capita by that measure.
Logical. You've used a premise, logic, and a conclusion.
The logic is sound, but the conclusion is not valid.
So I think that pretty much covers that asshole.
What we really need to do is recruit him to push our asshole-based medicine, and exploit this whole second order meeting fun a little bit further.
Well, something tells me he's going to be looking for a job. So
and if he's not, woe unto Missouri.
Oh fuck yeah. Anyway, somehow we got here, but I wanted to bring up that we saw Men in Black 3 at the drive-in as well.
Oh yeah.
And I enjoyed that. The Men in Black movies are kind of, you take them for what they are. They're unrealistic sort of adventure romps that in a weird universe full of fantastic aliens and things.
They aren't trying to be too serious, too complex.
And Will Smith is, a Scientologist, and I'm not a big fan of Scientology.
Yes, I didn't know that.
Yeah, last I checked anyway. But I'm not a giant fan of that. But if I'm going to boycott everybody who I disagree with for some reason, I'm just going to be sitting in a closet my entire life. So I went and I watched it. And
well, I think you're definitely fucked if you're like, I'm never going to see a movie again if the actors believe stupid shit.
Yeah, you could look at Hollywood in general and start going down the list.
I mean, if I thought like that, I'd never go to another Ted Nugent concert.
Right? Yeah. He's gone down a weird road lately, and but if you like his music, you like his music. So
right.
I liked Josh Brolin in Men in Black 3 a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of Josh Brolin. I really like his vibe, and I sort of see a lot of myself in the character that he played. The fuck letter of the alphabet was that character's name?
Agent K?
Agent K. Yeah, I thought he did a great job playing Agent K, and I sort of feel it. I feel him when he's doing that. And I also like Josh Brolin just in general as an actor. When he played George W. Bush in W.
Yeah,
he's really good at that. He seems to be very versatile. And of course, who can forget the Goonies? He's in the Goonies.
Good point.
He's the older brother. But yeah, that sort of young Agent K with some city miles on him. I really feel him there, and I really went along for the ride, and identified with that character, and that's where I got a lot of my enjoyment. I don't know where other people got theirs, where you got yours, but that's where I got mine.
Yeah.
So.
I'm actually in general, the Men in Black movies are just kind of, they exist in cinema space for me. I don't have strong negative feelings towards them. They're just movies I have watched, and basically all I'm saying is I'm pretty neutral on Men in Black movies.
As far as the aliens and stuff go, I agree with you. I don't really get a lot of enjoyment out of them, but I like watching movies where the hero sort of has his shit together and can handle emergencies and weird contingencies really well. Not only well, but in a cool way. Like, just sort of always keeps his cool, gets beaten down, comes back, gets beaten down, and just keeps coming back. I just completely love that. I identify with it. And, like...
Fair enough.
That's where I got my enjoyment out of this, because, like, that's sort of my attitude towards life, is, like, I'm very fun-loving, and the young K seemed to be pretty fun-loving. You know, I can handle myself, and I never freak out in emergencies. Like, if anything, I just get, like, more in tune. I sort of get into the zone.
Yeah.
And, like that sort of thing where nothing really phases him and like nothing really phases me. That's where the identification comes in. It's a fun sort of fantasy romp where I'm not really in danger because I'm living vicariously through the character. But at the same time, like, lots of weird crap has happened to me over the years. You know, I've lived through a flood. I've fallen off of a barn roof. I've almost been crushed different times working as a lumberjack. You know, similarly, I've almost chainsawed myself to death. Just the list can go on and on. I've almost been run over on my motorcycle. Just down, just on and on I could go. In every case, like, I didn't freak out. I just sort of almost enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, got a thrill out of it. I didn't enjoy falling off of a roof very much, but
that kind of sounds like a bag of dicks.
I didn't like freak out about it. I fell. I landed on the ground. Luckily, I didn't break anything. I laid there for a while, and like I got back up and I continued roofing. You know, that's the sort of way I roll, and like I like watching characters that do something like that as well. You know, some people would say it's unrealistic to have characters like that, but real people are like that in the day-to-day world, and you know, I'm one of them in some respect. You know, obviously I'm not like a professional fighter or a professional soldier or a professional tough guy of any kind. As a matter of fact, I see myself for the most part as rather gentle, but at the same time, I like intensity. I like how Josh Brolin handled that, and I like how weird situations can come up, and that really tests your character. Like you know. And if you are a panicker, there's nothing wrong with you, but I sort of just enjoy watching other people handle shit, and I enjoy handling shit. And that's where my enjoyment came from.
But not handling shit.
Yeah, no pun intended. So that for me covers Men in Black 3. I don't know if you had any additions there.
Not really, I didn't.
Just neutral about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much right.
Oh, what else did we see? We saw Spider-Man.
We saw Spider-Man.
That was okay. I didn't hate it as much as other people did.
I didn't hate it at all. But I mean, to me, it's like sort of what I just said about Men in Black 3. I was just like, it's a movie. You know.
I do think there shouldn't be reboots so fast. That was the one thing I didn't like. But as a reboot, it was pretty good. I think that it's weird to reboot something any sooner than like 35 years.
You obviously do not work for a movie studio. That much is clear to me. Well, but the Batman reboots are pretty good.
Yeah, but except they don't really... Yeah, I guess that's the exception to me. But a lot of times the Batman reboots aren't full reboots. They sort of kind of go along... Like they sort of could go together in a way.
Okay.
Even though the new Batman
don't feel like a reboot.
Right. The new Batman movies sort of... Well, first of all, the Michael Keaton era, those went together. And then when George Clooney and the other dude... Val Kilmer played Batman, it didn't seem like a reboot. It just seemed like, you know, as James Bond's character changes over time, but it's always the same James Bond.
Right.
That's what it felt like with Batman, where it wasn't a reboot. It was just more shit Batman's doing nowadays.
Okay.
And even though they had this latest trilogy of Batman movies sort of re-display how Batman is born, and it's not consistent completely with like the other Batman films.
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a full-on reboot. It's sort of a semi-reboot. Maybe that's why I tolerated it.
Fair enough.
But as far as Spider-Man goes, that's just like when did the last Spider-Man movie come out? Like just a few years
Spider-Man 3? Yeah. I mean, it
was like 3 or 4 years ago or something? 5, 6?
It was not as many as 6 years ago, because that would have been 06, and that seems too long ago.
Yeah.
I thought I think it was 07 or 08, something like that.
Yeah, and they're rebooting again, new character. They have to re-show how Uncle Ben dies,
how
again.
he becomes Spider-Man.
Right, and I don't know, like, if they were going to reboot Spider-Man, I think they could have done with just having Spider-Man do Spider-Man shit, like, with a new character, and they just, it's sort of like when George Clooney took over for Michael Keaton. They just have Batman doing new shit. They don't show all over again how Batman comes to be.
Right.
That's what I would have preferred to see. But, the other stuff was good. I thought this was a more serious version of Spider-Man, which I liked. And the character, like the kid, you could sort of identify with him more. He was more like I don't know. This is a case where, as a hero, I'm glad they made him a little more, I guess, vulnerable in this case. A little more insecure. I don't know.
Well, the thing that they changed that I liked is like he was more like the Peter Parker that was supposed to be the boy genius.
Mm.
Whereas like the ones with Tobey Maguire, he was just kind of like just a high school loser.
Yeah.
And that's not. I like that version better that they did in the newer one.
Yeah, like they made this one more idiosyncratic, and I like that. Maybe even a little more eccentric.
Yeah.
And
people didn't go nuts for it the way they went over the earlier ones. People fucking shelled out the cash to go see the first Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. So that's not really. I don't have a whole bunch to say about Spider-Man. I enjoyed it. I can't say it was amazing, but it was good. What else did we see? Have we seen anything else?
Yeah, I don't know.
We saw. I did not see the Avengers, but you did.
Yeah, I saw the Avengers.
But I did watch the clips with the Hulk because I like the Hulk a lot. And I felt pretty much I got what I needed out of the movie by watching the clips with the Hulk.
The funny thing about the Avengers, all I can really say is I enjoyed it, but I don't know why everybody else enjoyed it as much as they did. Like, it just made so much fucking money. And I'm like, it was entertaining, but it wasn't that amazing. Like,
yeah.
Each of the heroes are pretty boring on their own. The enemy, the bad guys in the movie weren't that scary. Like, it was just, I mean, unless really the movie generated, $600 million because people just wanted to see Scarlett Johansson's ass. Mm. Like, that would make more sense to me than the plot drawing in that much money. So, that's all I can really say about the Avengers.
It takes me back to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, when Jason Lee is in the comic book shop, and he's predicting the future. Like, he's like, yeah, all the movie studios have bought up the rights to all the comic books.
Oh, yeah.
And, I was like, yeah, I guess that's somewhat true, sort of, back then when the movie was new. I'm like, fuck yeah, they bought up all the rights to all the comic books, and they completely run with it.
Well, now they don't even, it's not even like, I don't know if they didn't just buy the rights. Like, that Marvel and DC are owned by media conglomerates.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Marvel got bought by Disney, and DC got bought by Time Warner.
Well, fuck me silly.
Yeah, they own all those things to the hilt now.
I'm not surprised. That's sort of how shit works.
Right.
Some shit just buys up other shit, and that gets bought up by some other shit.
Well, especially media companies, like media conglomerates. Fucking very, very little of the shit that you see isn't owned by another gigantic company.
I'm waiting for a gigantic company to come around that's just like Giganticore, and their whole motto is, "We love you." And that's just the worst company of all time.
That sounds like a Japanese conglomerate. Like, not because they're evil, but because they would be like, they have like less strict monopoly laws than we do.
Oh.
And so you could have fucking gigantic companies, and it just seems characteristically Japanese somehow for their corporate motto to be, "We love you." Or I love you.
And that's a great tactic to get people in. So don't listen to it, people. You should come over to Bad Guy Labs and be an honorary bad guy instead, because we love you.
Yes, we do love you, and we'll teach you all about marketing and stuff.
Yeah, don't fall for their shitty marketing tactics.
By SIBO.
Fall for our shitty marketing tactics instead. So the reason why I watched all the Hulk clips and not the rest, one, because like I've never really followed comic books super close.
Yeah, me either, actually.
And the Avengers was just one of those things, like, yeah, I could take it or leave it. I just never got around to seeing it. And like I barely was into seeing Spider-Man, but it was mostly because we were at the drive-in and we had our best gals with us, and we had a cooler full of beer, and I was smoking cigars. So
Right.
there didn't have to be a movie playing. Like, we could have just gone and hung out in any location as long as we have those things. Like,
Fair enough.
and you know, for all you like overly reactionary feminist types, yeah, I totally was referring to our best gals as things. So I watched the Hulk because the clips of the Hulk, because I'm into the Hulk. I love the fucking idea of the Hulk. Just all that shit I was talking about, how there's an inner animal in each one of us, and it just comes the fuck out when somebody's fucking with you, and you just go to work. You know, I just love that sort of primal idea in a comic book character, and I think a lot of people, the reason why it's popular is because it's deeply satisfying to a lot of, you know, fans out there that there's this Hulk thing and this concept, and you know, it's built off of, you know, the idea that there's sort of an inner human animal in all of us, and just this giant fucking grotesquely overdeveloped just man who just fucks shit up. That's what he does. Fuck shit up. And I don't know about you, but I don't know. I just love the base idea of that. There's also a really good movie. It's a short movie called Wolverine versus the Hulk, or the Hulk versus Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine is another awesome character, by the way.
True. And a famous matchup.
Just a tough fucking dude, and he's got like a metal skeleton, and he heals super fast, and he's got claws, and his purpose is to fuck shit up. It's just awesome. It's so fun. Like I'm not into it for the. It's a weird irony. Like, I'm not into this stuff for the violence of it per se. It's the fun of it. It's the fun. It's almost funny. Like, these comic book characters, they're just larger than life, and it's just a fun romp. And they're just there to be tough, to take shit, come back for more, get knocked down, come back for more after that, and fuck shit up. And it's just awesome sauce. So. And if you don't like that term, whatever, I totally understand, because it is overused, but it's the first time I've used it in the show. So, and if you haven't seen the Hulk versus Wolverine, it's probably on YouTube. That's where I saw it. So, it's somebody had uploaded it. It may or may not be taken down, but it was just a great little short cartoon.
You know what comic book movies never took off? The Punisher.
The Punisher.
There's been at least 2 Punisher movies.
I'm not really familiar with The Punisher. What was it even from? It sounds familiar, but is that like a...
I don't remember which comic book group made it, but it's basically like a vengeance sort of storyline. And he's kind of like Batman in the sense that he doesn't have superpowers, as far as I know.
Was he... So he was like an anti-hero, not a villain.
Yeah.
And he wasn't... I sort of have this vague recollection that the Punisher was involved with other superheroes somewhere along the line, but...
He might have been another superhero group or something.
Well, maybe that'll come out. Like, if Jason Lee has anything to say about it, it'll come out eventually from one of the big companies that loves us.
And in the most recent Punisher movie, the guy who played the Punisher was everybody's favorite Titus Pullo, the guy who played Titus Pullo from the HBO series Rome.
Cool. Another awesome character, by the way.
Yep.
He's not a Hulk and he's not Wolverine, but he's the Roman analog. He's tough. He's fun-loving.
He's the gentle giant,
and he fucks shit up. And he's very He's almost artistic about it. He fucks shit up like a delicate, craftsman in some ways. Like he can swing a sword like wildly like the best of them, but he's also almost meticulous about it in some cases.
True.
Like when he went to assassinate that senator, and he's like eating peaches, picking peaches.
Yeah.
He's meticulous about it. That's a great character. So he's the Punisher then.
Yeah, that's the guy who plays him. He was in the Thor movie too, but I don't think you saw Thor.
I didn't see Thor. Who did he play? Thor or somebody else? Or
one of Thor's buddies from the planet he's from.
Oh, okay.
So a minor role, but
it just popped up on Netflix, so I'll probably catch it just because I want to sort of know what people are talking about.
It's definitely worth watching instantly on Netflix.
I'll do that. So I think that sort of wraps up our little movie roundup.
Yeah, our movie thing that we don't really do. It's not a regular thing that we do, but
well, we're here in the Bad Guy Lounge, sort of just waxing and waning, poetic and philosophic about whatever we want. We can do whatever the fuck we want, and many other shows do that. So
yeah, well, there definitely is a summer movie season. It's clearly wound down.
Yeah, we talk about the shit that's on our minds. That's in our tagline. Yeah. So, this is something we were also talking about. Is like we're Bad Guy Labs because we're quote unquote bad guys, but we're labs because we are quote unquote labs, as in we're interested in science and stuff. When we joke around that we're scienticians. We actually, sort of consider ourselves to be doing experiments. They may be goofy experiments in some cases, like, Cole wants to see what happens when you shoot a watermelon with a shotgun. So at some point, that's going to be an experiment that we probably will film it and upload it. Just weird shit like that is what we're into. Over in the lab proper, I built an electrolyzer, the thing that you apply electricity to, and it runs through water and converts it to hydrogen and oxygen. So we're doing real shit like that. Just enough.
You make yourself sound a little bit more scientifically literate than me in that example.
That was a bad choice. That's the first things that popped into my head, completely unplanned. I also want to see what happens when you shoot.
I want to shoot a frozen watermelon with a shotgun.
Cole also wants to see what happens when you shoot an electrolyzer. But we're doing experiments, I guess you could say, in science, maybe once in a while. But we're doing experiments in free thought. That's really the area we're in. And that's why we sit over here in the lounge most of the time, especially in these preliminary stages. The lab has been over there for a long time, and general fuckery has been had in there. But we're starting the show out in the lounge, like for now, because we're doing experiments in free thought. And and experiments in sort of enjoying your life, which I think free thought goes in hand with. So we're going to be making retard jokes. We're going to be shooting watermelons with shotguns. We will convert some water into flammable gases. And by the way, if you think that you can get something out of that, you can't. You're never going to make like a machine that gets more out of it than you put into it. So don't even bother. It's a fun machine for other purposes, but not for gaining an unlimited supply of energy or something.
Well, unless you just happen to need a lot of hydrogen gas.
Yeah, and you're willing to pay for it, like to expend a lot of energy to get it out of the water. But
you're willing to build your own coal-fired electricity power plant.
Yes.
Coal-fired power plant.
You need electricity from a power plant. You need electricity from running your gasoline engine and clamping off the battery. You need it from somewhere. You can't just... But I digress.
Yeah.
We're doing experiments. We're experimental types.
We're experimenting.
Yeah, we're experimenting. And so that's where the lab part comes in. And so keep that in mind. Like, it's just, again, the theme that we've been saying all along is don't take us too seriously. We sort of have a point to all this, a method to the madness. And, we hope something is gotten out of that, but not in the way like a legitimate, serious, very tightly controlled science show would do anything. So, I can't hammer that point home enough.
Well, yeah, because you can get that. You can get that somewhere else. You can buy yourself a science textbook. You can watch a science show. You can read a book on philosophy.
Listen to one of the many science shows online.
Yeah,
You know.
go do that if that's what you want. I fully endorse that.
Yeah, we're gonna be over here, like drinking on the job and shooting shit with shotguns and, clamping shit up to batteries to see what happens and things like that. And as usual, continuing our production of, private stock of alcohol.
Well, yeah.
So, where was I going with this? I started out with a plan, and the brain cells aren't connecting up properly.
Your little great cells aren't cooperating.
Oh man,
We could wind down if you want. It's up to you.
I guess that's fine with me. We're going to end the show as always somewhere between 1 and 2 hours long. Oh well, whatever. I think I drove my point home on this anyway. But we hope you have fun with us, and
Indeed.
that you continue to have fun with us, and that you if you're a bad guy like us, that you consider yourself an honorary bad guy, and don't worry about shit so much. Feel good about yourself if you're not hurting anybody else, and chill the fuck out, even if other people don't want to. So on that note, I'm Jason Emerson.
And I am Cole Koenig, and reminding you, as always, if you enjoy the show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel where you are listening to this right now. Please follow the links on the right side of the page to Facebook and Twitter, and follow us there. You can, send us messages, all that kind of fun stuff. And send us any emails that you would like to send us at BadGuyLabsChannel @gmail.com.
I think that pretty much pimps out all our shit. We actually have a blog too, but we're not really doing anything with that yet, so that's why we haven't pimped it. But those are the things to go to if you want to, people. Remember, we love you. And thanks for listening to Bad Guy Labs.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.